Right now, somewhere across America, a phone just buzzed, an envelope just landed in a mailbox, or a notification quietly appeared online. And for millions of people, that moment triggered a sudden pause. Because when Social Security sends something out, it's never random and it's never meaningless. This isn't just paperwork. This is about you, your household, your monthly budget, and the money your family depends on to survive. If you rely on Social Security in any way, retirement, disability, survivor benefits, this moment matters. And here's the part that hits hardest. Many people don't realize what they received, or worse, they ignore it entirely, not knowing it could affect their benefits, their payments, or their future income. In today's economy, with prices still high and financial pressure squeezing families from every direction, even a small change or update from Social Security can ripple through your entire life. That's why this video exists. Because what was sent out isn't just a message, it's a signal. A signal that something is changing, something needs your attention, or something could impact your wallet sooner than you think. And if you didn't get it yet, you may still be on the list. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what Social Security sent, why it matters, and what you should do next to protect yourself and your family. What Social Security actually sent, and why it's not the same for everyone. Here's where confusion sets in. Social Security didn't send just one single message to everyone. Different people received different notices, and that's intentional. Some Americans received letters in the mail. Others got digital alerts through their online Social Security accounts. Some saw changes explained in formal language that's easy to overlook, while others got brief notices that didn't feel urgent, but actually were. These messages can include benefit updates, verification requests, payment explanations, account reminders, or eligibility reviews, and that's exactly why this is so important. Two neighbors can both be on Social Security and receive completely different communications, each with different consequences. One might see information about benefit calculations, another might be alerted to required action, another might receive confirmation of records. The problem is, Social Security language can feel cold, technical, and overwhelming. Many people skim it, set it aside, or assume it doesn't apply to them. But buried inside these notices are details that can determine whether your payments continue smoothly, or face delays, adjustments, or interruptions. This is not about panic, it's about awareness. Because when Social Security reaches out, they're not just talking, they're documenting. And what's documented can affect you months down the line. Why this matters, right now more than ever. Timing is everything, and this timing is no accident. Social Security communicates more frequently during periods of review, adjustment, and administrative updates. When inflation, budget pressures, or program evaluations occur, communication increases. That's when millions of Americans start receiving notices at the same time. And let's be real, most families are already stretched thin. Groceries cost more. Utilities are higher. Rent and medical expenses keep climbing. So when Social Security sends something out, people immediately wonder, is my money changing? That emotional reaction is completely understandable. For many households, Social Security isn't extra income. It's the foundation. It's what keeps the lights on, food on the table, and medication affordable. That's why ignoring a message from Social Security is risky. Even something that seems informational today can turn into a requirement tomorrow. This is about staying ahead instead of scrambling later. Because once deadlines pass, options shrink. The biggest mistake people make when they get these notices. Here's the mistake that costs people time, money, and peace of mind. Assuming no action is required. Many Social Security notices don't scream urgency, but that doesn't mean they're optional. Some are sent simply to inform you of how decisions were made. Others are sent to confirm your records are accurate. Others are reminders tied to eligibility rules. And here's the danger. If Social Security doesn't hear back when they expect to, they don't assume everything is fine. They assume something is missing. That can trigger follow-ups, delays, or reviews that could have been avoided. This is especially critical for people who've moved, changed banking information, or had life changes in their household. Social Security relies heavily on accurate records, and when something doesn't match, they communicate. That communication is your chance to stay in control. Miss it, and control shifts away from you. How this connects directly to your wallet. Let's bring this home. Everything Social Security sends is connected to money, either now or later. Even a notice that looks harmless can influence future payments. Benefit calculations, eligibility confirmations, and account updates all affect what you receive and when. For families living month to month, timing matters. A delay of even a few weeks can create stress, late bills, or tough choices. That's why awareness equals protection. When you understand what Social Security is telling you, you can respond calmly instead of reacting under pressure. Knowledge gives you breathing room, and breathing room protects your wallet. Why some people didn't get anything yet. If you're watching this and thinking, I didn't get anything, that doesn't mean you're excluded. Social Security communications roll out in waves. Some are targeted, some are randomized, some depend on account activity, benefit type, or timing. Others arrive digitally first, then by mail. This staggered process is why millions hear about it at different times. That's also why staying informed matters. Just because nothing has shown up today doesn't mean nothing is coming. And when it does, you'll want to recognize it for what it is. Important, official, and worth your attention. How to check without panicking. There's a calm, smart way to stay ahead. First, always open mail from Social Security. Second, if you have an online account, check notifications directly there, never through random links or messages. Third, read carefully, even if the language feels dry. You don't need to understand every word. You just need to understand what it's asking or explaining. If action is required, it will say so. If it's informational, it still matters. Awareness beats anxiety every time. The emotional side. No one talks about. Money messages hit differently when you're already stressed. For seniors, people with disabilities, and families depending on fixed income, Social Security isn't abstract, it's survival. That's why these notices can trigger fear, confusion, or frustration, and that's normal. The key is not letting emotion override action. Take a breath, read, understand, respond if needed. You're not alone in this. Millions are navigating the same system at the same time. What this signals about the future. Whenever Social Security increases communication, it's a reminder that the system is active, evolving, and paying attention. Policies shift. Reviews happen, records are updated. Staying informed keeps you adaptable, and adaptability protects your financial future. This isn't about guessing or rumors, it's about reading the signals and staying prepared. Why ignoring this could cost you more than you realize. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. Ignoring Social Security communication doesn't make it disappear. It makes consequences arrive later, louder, and harder. When Social Security sends something out, they log it. That means from their side, you were informed. Whether you read it or not doesn't change that record, and that's where people get blindsided. Months later, they're shocked by a delayed payment, a request for clarification, or a sudden change they didn't expect. That's when panic sets in. That's when phone lines are busy, appointments are booked weeks out, and stress skyrockets. This is especially dangerous for families already living on tight margins. One missed clarification can snowball into weeks of uncertainty. And the worst part? Many of those situations were preventable. A few minutes of attention early can save months of frustration later. This isn't about fear. It's about foresight. Social Security doesn't move fast, but it moves deliberately. And once the system moves forward, it's much harder to rewind. Staying alert now is how you protect yourself from financial surprises later. What this means for your family, not just you. Social Security decisions don't live in isolation. What affects you affects your household, your spouse, your children, your dependents. If your benefits change, your family budget changes. If paperwork stalls, your household feels it. That's why this isn't just your problem. It's a family issue. Many households rely on Social Security as a shared foundation. Rent, groceries, medical costs, utilities. When that foundation feels uncertain, stress spreads quickly. Conversations change. Plans get delayed. Worries pile up. That's why being informed is an act of protection, not just for yourself, but for the people who rely on you. When you stay ahead, you give your family stability. When you understand what's happening, you can plan instead of react. And in today's economy, planning is everything. This is about keeping your household steady in an unpredictable financial world. Why these moments separate prepared people from panicked ones. There's a clear difference between people who stay calm during financial updates and people who feel overwhelmed. The difference isn't intelligence. It isn't income. It's information. People who read, understand, and stay updated don't panic when letters arrive. They recognize patterns. They know what to expect. They know where to look. And that confidence matters, because panic leads to bad decisions, rushed calls, and unnecessary stress. Preparation leads to patience and clarity. Social Security communication is part of a bigger system, and once you understand that, the fear fades. This moment, right now, is your chance to move from reactive to prepared, and that shift changes everything. The bigger picture. Most headlines miss. Most headlines focus on shock value. They ask dramatic questions, spark fear, then move on. But the real story is quieter and more important. Social Security communicating with millions of Americans is a reminder that this system touches nearly every family in this country. It's active, it's monitored, and it responds to changes in your life. That's not something to fear, it's something to understand. The more familiar you are with how it works, the less power confusion has over you, and the more control you keep over your financial future. Awareness doesn't just protect money, it protects peace of mind. Here's the final takeaway, and it's powerful. Staying informed isn't optional anymore, it's essential. In a world where costs rise fast and financial safety nets matter more than ever, knowledge is your strongest defense. Social Security reaching out is not noise. It's a message meant to be seen, understood, and respected. When you stay connected to updates like this, you're choosing clarity over confusion, stability over surprise, and control over chaos. And that choice matters, not just today, but for your future. This is why following updates, staying subscribed, and keeping yourself informed isn't just a habit, it's a strategy. A strategy that protects your wallet, your family, and your peace of mind. Stay here, stay informed, and stay ready for what comes next.